Hi, everyone. This is Abhishek from ShakeTheCosmos.com. My guest today is Arnaud Tawuvo. And Arnaud and I met at business school, and we did a bunch of activities together, and we haven't really kept in touch. So I'm really excited to talk with him. Arnaud is a successful entrepreneur, real estate investor, and co creator of Shinewithplant and Get Inspired on YouTube. He lives in Chicago with his wife, and he has one daughter, and one is on the way. Congrats. As a natural critical thinker, Arnaud takes complex investment strategies and converts them into simple life lessons for the average person. Together with his wife, they also spread awareness about the plant based lifestyle through their own example. He's passionate about shaping the next generation of leaders by teaching thought provoking perspectives on entrepreneurship and life in general, and disrupting the traditional approach to a career and life. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Arnaud.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, the topic, is really relevant today. I know you and I were talking about the topic of financial abundance. Um, and before, as we get into it, I'd love to sort of know a little bit about your own journey of financial abundance. What have been sort of the your own journey around that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's something that I'm really passionate about because I started really again very low beginning. There was a point of time not long ago that I was broke. I didn't have anything on my name, and especially right now with this COVID-19, that again that has put the economy down. That many people feel like they have to again rethink their strategy, and this is probably the best time for anyone out there that is really looking to get a hold on of their financial situation to really rethink whatever that they have been going about. So for me, that awareness came to me a few years ago that I realized that it it was up to me to shape whatever again the future, the vision that I have, and to have a plan to make it happen. And again, it led me to the most important thing for me was to know I had to educate myself to not not the traditional education, but read books, attend seminar, really open my mind and learning from people that have succeeded. Say, how do you actually build financial independence? How do you achieve that? How do you, and beyond financial independence, how do you achieve financial abundance? And again, there are rules that just like if you fall out of on top of the building, you're gonna go down. It's a law. So there are rules that if you follow, you're gonna make a lot of money. So that was for me again that awakening to say, wow, this there is a way, and it's as clear, as simple that it can be, but it's not easy. It's simple but not easy.
I
And
appreciate that. And I
yeah,
mean, and I like how, and again, that's just in your personality. That's how easy and simple. And and I guess, what are some of the rules, or what are some of the strategies that come to mind as you started to learn more about financial independence and financial abundance?
yeah. The first thing I would say again today, I just to kind of give you an idea on where I am today. I invest in a lot in real estate, stock market, and but it's it's all about how do you, again, the most important thing is to get started. That's where most people get stuck. They look where they are and they see where they want to go, and they realize how far they are, and they never actually get started. So it starts with one thing. You need to determine, you need to know what exactly you want and why. It has to be so clear in your mind that when you wake up, when you open your eye, you can see it, you can feel it, you, you when that vision is that clear, it's almost like someone has taken that away from you and you are trying to take it back. on that. It's something, and the why behind that is what is going to carry you to the low, because there's going to be, as everything, if it was easy, everyone would do it. So it's going to be a journey. So it is to say the first thing is to know what you want. What if you want to achieve financial abundance? What does that mean for you? Yeah, put it in your own words, something that speaks to you, that you can feel, you can relate to that. And from there,
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, I appreciate that so much, and I appreciate how we didn't just get into spreadsheets. Hey, you just build a spreadsheet. What was your why, and what was your like motivation and getting out of bed, or whatever, to so somebody else who's listening to this kind of learn from your motivation.
Uh, I want to say that, I mean, since I was little, I always had that vision that I was meant for something big. But over time, life takes take again. Life get on the way, and you start to settle. You start to. It wasn't until when I met my wife, and it it's something gets simple, get easier. That you know what you want. So after I met my wife, I knew the kind of life I wanted to live. I know exactly what I was trying to get out of my life, and for me, again, it's about how I can live through my own example and inspire other people to do the same, to live life to the fullest, to live life strong with passion. So, and again, with that, knowing that this is what I wanted, I know, again, you can't really do that until you have the means to do the things that you want to do. I, and to get there, to have that freedom to do what you want to do, when you want to do it, as much as you want to do it, start with that, again, that financial independence. And so that was the starting point. Now, it was clear in my mind that this is what I want, and it's not, again, it's just the first step. Now, the second step is that how do you bridge the gap from where you are to where you want to be? Now you can just make a plan to say, hey, here I am. Where do I want to be 5 years from now? We tend to estimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can do in 5 years, 10 years. So that's what you can do on a span of a time, 5, 10 years. It's, again, you won't believe it. But the moment that you start to say, this is where I want to be 5 years from now, and you have a plan, maybe, I don't know, maybe you have a job. In my case, at the time, I had a job. Again, I was making good money. But the way I was living, I knew that to get where I want to be, it would take me years, if not. It, I didn't have the tools or the strategy to get from point A to point B, knowing if that point B was here. So what I did was to say, first, I need to increase my income. That, and you have to again, and to increase your income, what does that mean for you? Maybe it means having to retool, maybe change the industry or increase your education, something that can give you a little bit of increase your value on the marketplace. So that was the number one thing. You can get there. Again, if something, it would take me 15 years to get, but if I increase my value a little bit, it can take me 5 years, 3 years to get there. So that was the number one thing. And from there, I knew, again, the second thing was that to build wealth, you don't again save money, you invest. That's how you actually build wealth. The money that you make is nothing. It's just a vehicle to get you there. What will make you a fortune, or what will make you financially independent, is actually that investment. Over a year, again, in 5 years, the money that you have invested, that capital come down to maybe 10-20%, and that 80% is the result of the profit from that investment. So, and
I
yeah, I made a
appreciate.
lot of mistakes. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that so much, and I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess just looking at income, and just like growing it, thinking of it, and then investing as well. Um, That's huge. And I like what you said about just how we can underestimate ourselves when we think about 5 to 10 years. Makes me think of a lot of things at the same time. So, what are I'm just thinking, in terms of um, what are some tools that are available for people to, if they have never invested before. And
Yes, good
there
question.
are so many get rich
There's a lot out there, especially people that want to get rich quick. I want to tell you, it's not a quick thing. You have to put the work, and even then, you have to know that you're gonna fail along your way, but you're gonna fail your way to success. And sure enough, I've failed a lot of time. But going back to your question, like, what are the simpler tools? Like, if I'm here, I want to get there. It's the first thing is that you have to take control of your mind. It's it's and when I say to you have to read books, you have to. There are so much you don't know, and here's the thing: you don't know what you don't know. If you knew that you didn't know, you may be seeking to know that. So the more you're gonna read, the more you're gonna realize what you don't know, and the more you're gonna seek to know a little bit more. But that that is the starting point. Like, increase your financial IQ. That is start there, and to do it, they are simple books. I mean, I would talk to you. I can pinpoint to you like two books that can come on top of my mind. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That would be a great book to steer you in the right direction. You're gonna understand what is an asset, what is a liability. That's a great book to start with. The second one will be The Richest Man in Babylon. It will get you to think about saving, investing. How do you build wealth? So those two books right there, you can get them on Audible or even on YouTube, or you can just have the paper book. It will get you to start thinking right and know that, and it's it will get you to start knowing that you can make it happen. It's not for, I don't know, it's not something exoteric, or no, everyone, it's at your reach. So that would be the first thing. Now, when you have that, it come down, making building wealth come down to three things. First, you have to live below your means. It doesn't matter if you're making 30,000 a year, 100,000 a year, or even half $1 million a month. It's still, if you're not living below your means, you won't be able to save. Living below your means, now you can save, and you don't save. The second thing is that you don't save to save. You save to invest. That's where most people kind of get. They don't realize that saving won't be much. In fact, even the inflation, it's making that money lose value over time. So you save to invest. And again, the third question, that where do I invest into? There are many ways to invest, but the one thing is that you want to invest into something that you know. Otherwise, you're going to lose a lot of money. And I did that. I started a lot of company. I lost a lot of money over the years, but I learned along the process. And some of the mistakes that people made, and I can tell you, like, if maybe an easier way to start is to invest in the stock market on those index funds. You don't have to know anything about the stock market, what stock is good, what stock is bad. Just invest on the index fund. The index fund is the safest way for you to start because, again, over the last 30 years, for example, the S&P 500 the average return has been 11%. That means if you have invested 100,000 on S&P 500 in 2010, that 100,000 will be valued to 400 and plus thousand today. 100,000 in 2010, investing in S&P 500, is 400,000 today. You have made no other investment in meantime, and you quadruple your money in 10 years. Now you understand the power of compounding. This is what most people fail to understand, and they don't realize you don't need 100,000 to start. If you can just automate, when you save, you can automate those savings to say every month, for example, if I'm saving this amount, 500, 1,000, 2,000, whatever that is, I'm going to save and automatically invest that into that index fund.
Yeah.
And
I
There you go.
appreciate that. Yeah, and I will be sure to add the two books that you mentioned in the podcast description as well, and the stock market index funds. And I guess I think about also how you were talking about there are other parts of this financial abundance besides also sort of the money piece. What are some parts that have sort of that you also consider to be part of the definition of feeling financially abundant?
That's a great question. And it again, the simplest definition of financial abundance is that now they are level, there are multiple level of financial. Again, where are you financially? There's when you there is financial security level. Financial security level is that you have enough money to pay your bills and to save a little. So you are financially secure. You don't depend. You don't have any. Again, you are good. You're good enough. That is a financial security. Now, after financial security is financial independence. When you reach the level of financial independence, is that you are at the point that you don't need to work anymore to live. You have made enough money that your again whatever that you have invested, the return of that without you doing anything passively, you can actually use that the proceed of that investment and live in your means. And the third level is the financial abundance. You not only you are financially independent, but you have enough to you have that abundance in your life. You can do what you want to do. You can or you can again at to some limit, but you have that abundance in your life. So that is that definition right there. So the first thing for you that everyone that is trying to achieve some level of financial a certain level of financial independence or abundance is to know what does that mean for you. For some people, is that if I can have 500,000, I will ensure that I'm financially independent. And the formula with that is that with $500,000 invested in the stock market, even in the most conservative index or whatever bond out there, maybe you're getting let's say a 7% return. It will get me 7% out of 500,000. That's about $35,000 a year. So if I can live out of $35,000 a year, that's good enough for me. But for some other people, that means maybe $5 million. For them to be living $5 million, that will give them about $350,000 a year. That's how much they spend on a year, on a calendar year. So they need at least $5 million to be financially independent. So it varies depending on your need and who you are. So
Yeah, and I mean, so it's a reminder of how what do people want in the beginning before making these investments and as well.
there you go. That you right there, you're on point. So at that moment, the key thing for you is to say, because we see when you talk about someone that is making, let's say he's making $100,000 a year, the average again, you in the United States, you have, I believe, I can recall the stat exactly, but more than half people live paycheck to paycheck. That number one habit to save or to live below their means and save, they have never even achieved that level. That is the first level. If you can achieve that, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you move from 60,000 to 80,000 to 100,000, you're going to keep increasing your expenses. It's just how you are. It's mental. It's psychology. So you need to whatever that you are, even if it's $30,000 a year. If you're already living, because again in the US, for example, where the average salary it's about $40,000 a year. So if you're already making something past $40,000 a year, that means you're making more than 50% of the population. You can surely save at least 10% of that. 10% is the minimum that you should start. You should be targeting as a starting point to build that savings. And again, the more you make, that means the more you can save. It's when you get to the level that you can save 90%, now you're going to feel that abundance. You have that much that you only need to spend 10% of your income to live, and you're saving 90%. And even more for the high earner. But that is the starting point. That savings, the beauty of that is that when you start to invest and you start to see how it's compounding, it's increasing, that someone that is making, for example, $60,000 a year starts saving 6,000 and he invests, and that 6,000 turned down to about 8,000 the next year, and he add another 6,000, and so on in a span of 10 years. That 6,000 that he's been saving for 10 years, that should have been 60,000 saving, 240,000. It You
Yeah.
can see the math again. It's simple math. It's just like Einstein said, is that maybe the most the most fun thing, again, the most, I can't recall the name that he used, but it's the most sophisticated way, again, in all lives, into the world. So compounding, baby. Yep.
I appreciate that. And I mean, it makes me think too, um, sort of the compound interest, and at the same time, like this education piece, and just being financially aware where you are. Yeah, everything kind of just goes hand in hand. It sounds like, where, someone, I guess maybe if, would you say then it sort of starts with education then, if someone's living paycheck by paycheck, um, and sort of, getting to the investment, because I feel like if you're living paycheck to paycheck, then it's hard to even think about investment. It almost feels
That is,
scary.
yes, and that's a very good question. The question is that how do you make yourself to know I need to start saving? The first thing is to realize this, that first, if you're making less than 40,000, there's a problem. So right there, if you're making less than than half of the U.S. population, $40,000 a year, you need to you do something, educate yourself, learn something new. There's multiple ways to increase your income, to 10x your income. I did that. I went from I went from my last full-time job when I started my company, and I multiplied my income five times in one move. So again, not everyone is meant to be an entrepreneur. I'm not saying that everyone out there should go out there, take risks. There are people that are risk adverse. Still, the first level for you is to understand that if I'm making one that's less than 40,000, there is a way. If I can increase my value on the marketplace, and to increase that is to learn, is to retool. Maybe you in a sector that is not paying that much. Can you move into a new industry? What can you do? You have to be flexible in your mind. You have to, and what you even do to get there is that you need to know what you want. You have to have something that is driving you, giving you that motivation to take those bold moves, and that starts with that vision. To feel it. It's not about thinking about what do you want to do. I live here in Chicago. I live again in this nice 3-bedroom apartment here in this again high rise in Chicago. I pay a lot of money on my rent, and again I could have owned, but again that's maybe for another conversation. But I rent and I own whatever that I own. I rent. I rent buildings, but where I live, I rent. That's another conversation. But this is to say, this is the life that I designed. I wanted to live. I wanted to have the nicest thing, but to get there, you need to know. Okay, what do I need to? I need to work harder. And if not even that, so much about working harder, but much about working smarter. Because I have seen people work harder than me, 10 times harder than me, but still they are still stuck where they are. So it's a balance between those two, working smarter, more smarter than harder. Still, the hard part is part of it, but smarter, it's more important.
I appreciate that, as well. And I guess I mean, I mean, I think I know you have real estate experience as well. So, I mean, that would be definitely a good follow-up conversation, as well. And I appreciate this, especially in these times. It's important. Um, and I guess, as we're sort of wrapping up here, any last advice or suggestions that come to mind in the current times we live in today?
Yeah, I would tell anyone out there listening to say, this is in those times, in those dire moments that we're living right now, this is the best time. There are so many opportunities out there right now. There's guys, it may be it's because most people right now are frightening. People, they, it take there's more opportunity in those moments than when everything is well, when everyone is expecting that things will go their way. So that's to start with. To say, don't don't try to say, oh, maybe on my dream I need to recalibrate where I was planning on doing. No, 10x your thinking, 10x your goal. To say, oh, I was trying to make this, I want to make 10 times that, because it's going to push you. By thinking that way, you're going to bring the level of effort that it will require to get to the next level. This is the best time for whomever is trying to change their life financially to actually make it happen. It's just the way it is. It's because you have few people out there doing that right now. Most people are, no, it's too bad. I don't want to, let's do it after. So best time for you. That's the starting point. The second thing is to say, you have to, it's financial abundance or independence is not just something nice. When you have more, you can give more. So don't don't lie to yourself saying, no, I don't want big things, I don't want nice things. It's the more you can have, the more you can live life to the fullest. You can give more, you can impact even more people. So from there, that excuse is no longer valid. You That is the second thing. The third is to say, have a plan. It's one thing to say this, I want to become a millionaire. I want to become a deca millionaire or an hectare millionaire. What is your plan to get there? Show me your plan. And the plan is, or you can go online. Again, another good reader will be, what is his name again? I forgot the name, but he's very interesting.
Yeah,
But
we can include it afterwards.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And he has a website that you can actually go there and compute to say, okay, for example, if I'm investing, let's say, this amount of money every month, how much would it take me? Because there's an average on the market. If you don't try to outsmart the market. That's what I always tell people. If you're going to stock market, don't say, oh, Tesla has been going so high, I'm going to invest in Tesla. Who knows? Next day, Tesla may go down 50%. I'm not saying it's going to go down, but who knows? But when you invest on the index market, there is a certainty that, or maybe a high level of certainty that over time, it's going to keep going up. The last 3 months, March 18, I watched my portfolio dip down 35, 37%. But guess what? Everything it came back up. And it's just the way it is. So what I'm saying is that have a strategy. Know if my goal is to say, you know what, I am 30 today and I want to be financially independent by 50. I have 20 years to become financially independent. And for me, financial independent means, let's say it maybe I need to have $5 million to be financially independent. And here I am, I'm making, let's say, $100,000 a year, for example. Okay, if I'm making $100,000 a year, you have to do the math to say, if I maybe out of that 100,000, I'm saving 30,000. How long will it take me if my return, the average is 11%? You can do the math. If it gets you maybe 20 years from now, you're going to be, let's say, 3 million. I need to increase my income. I need to increase my saving. What can I do to increase that from 100 to 120? Now I can save 40 or 50,000. What can I do? Wow, if I can take that income to 200,000, now I can get there even in 10 years. So it's math. You just have to be very clear and it comes down to that, and keep learning. The hardest part of this is not just about the strategy, but it's the psychology behind it.
I
It's
appreciate that.
20%. It's 20% mechanics, auto strategy, and 80% psychology. And that psychology is the why. You have to keep coming back to it. Why are you doing this? Why? Why are you? people from the outside, when you start doing that, they'll think maybe you're a little bit crazy. They won't understand. But with a strong why, you can veer anyhow. So that would be my last comment on that.
I appreciate that. Financial abundance is 20% mechanics and 80% psychology. Love it. Well, Arnaud, thank you so much for sharing these insights and really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Hey, everyone. Thank you for listening. Please hit the subscribe button. We'll be back next week